perhaps the main barrier or block for English learners who want to improve their ability to speak is the fact that it's hard to have someone to practice with, right? I want to practice speaking with a native English speaker, but I don't have enough money to pay a teacher, or maybe I have a teacher, but I don't practice enough hours, or I only get to practice with my friends and they don't really want to speak English with me. Ugh, it's not fun. Is there anything I can do? Well, the obvious answer is, yeah, go to America, go to the UK. But that's not a great answer either. One, because that's not realistic for a lot of people. And two, because even if you do, it's easy to not really interact that much with native English speakers. Even if you live in America, there are lots of people who go to America to live for 5-10 years, and somehow they're able to not really communicate that often with native English speakers. And as a result, if they come home, maybe they stay, but if they come home, their English is not nearly as good as you would expect. It's actually really common, especially for university students. It's pretty interesting. Shocking, right? And that's often because there are communities that you can be part of in the United States, in the UK, in Australia, where when you're at home or doing the normal stuff, you don't have to really deeply interact that much. So, physical location is not that important. What's important is connecting with and communicating with native English speakers about all kinds of different things. And you can do that without going to the United States or going to Canada or going to the UK. How? Well, the interesting thing is that coronavirus has provided a way that you can do this. And I want to share that way with you. And it's a way that has really just come out or is just starting to become common that I think most people haven't really caught on to yet. And I'm going to share this with you, but only if you promise me in your mind. Obviously you can't promise me. Well, you could, I suppose. Here's my number. No. Promise me in your mind that you will use this way responsibly and that you won't use it to just use people, that you'll have the right attitude going into it. If you do it this way, though, you will get the practice that you're looking for. And that way is to join a small community of people who have the same interest or interests as you. Now, what is this small community? How can we actually start practicing? Well, you may have heard me talk before about something called Meetup. Now, Meetup is a website. Meetup is also an app, and previously it had been a way to connect with others in your city where you live, to meet others, to go on a hike, or to practice meditation or yoga, or maybe a discussion group or book club. But the interesting thing that has happened since COVID-19 is that most of the events that happen on Meetup happen online. They're pretty much all online events. So what kind of events? Again, it doesn't matter. There are all kinds of things that you can find on this website. It's just people who get together. Someone forms a group and they get together to talk about knitting or practice knitting together, to do a book. They might read through a whole book. To watch movies. They might maybe watch one movie a week and then talk about the movie twice a week. Now, because they've gone online, the discussions are mostly on Zoom or Skype. Most of them are online events. What does that mean? Well, that means that you could find a meetup group happening in LA or Ottawa, Vancouver, London, Sydney, wherever. And because it's an online group, as long as they allow you into the group, you can participate. So that's a powerful thing. Before, all of these groups were happening locally. You'd have to be there, go there, and sit with those people in that place. But now, since they're all mostly online, you can follow your interests to almost any place in the world, join those groups, maybe once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, and practice having conversations. Now, remember I said I want you to do this responsibly with the right attitude. I'm going to talk more about it in a bit, but I think it's important that you do it if you join a group with the attitude of just wanting to be part of it and not just, I'm using you people to practice my speaking. I think they will be able to feel that, and that's probably not so good. So if you join a group, there are a couple of things I'd like you to keep in mind. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, does this actually work? Have you done it? Yes, I am in meetup groups. I'm in several meetup groups, and I actually meet people several times a week. In fact, just last week, I finished reading a book. 6 months we spent reading this book. We would read 1 chapter 3 times a week. We'd read a chapter, then do a discussion, 1.5 hours, and then chapter, do a discussion. And we would meet 3 times a week and talk and talk and talk. And it was great. And I kept thinking, wow, people who are learning English would really benefit from this too. So I want you guys to check this out. And before you do, I want you to keep a couple of things in mind. Before we talk about the things I want you to keep in mind, let me just give you a couple of simple examples. Okay, so here are a few that I found just before I took a couple of screenshots. All right, so Sunday, October 18th, 5 p.m., there is a discussion happening on King of Staten Island. There is an open discussion happening on Wednesday, the 7th. There's a discussion on books, discussions and decisions, Sense and Sensibility, October Book Club, the Brighton Book Club, monthly book club meetup. So books, movies, TV shows, general discussion groups, professions, interests, you can find meetups on almost anything. And again, the powerful thing is that most of these meetups are now happening online. You can see on these cards, online event, online event, online event, online event. All of these are online events. So that's the really cool thing here. And this has just happened in the last, 5 or 6 months, right? And if they stay online, then great. Now you might be wondering, are these free? Most of them are free. Most of them you don't have to pay. Most of these are groups where people just want to meet and share interests and have something in common with others. That's it. So that's why I mentioned that it would be good to have the same kind of attitude going in. So a couple of things to keep in mind before you join a group or two. Number 1, the first thing, how to interact in these groups. Follow your interests. In other words, don't go into this with the idea of, I'm going in so that I can practice my English. I'm going to improve my English, and I'm going to use all those people to do it. And I'm going to talk over others, and I'm just going to talk as much as I can. That's not a good way long term to interact, because they will feel that. People will feel uncomfortable. They will know, right? I've had people message me before. They get my number, they send me a message, and they say, I just added you because I want to practice my speaking with you. How do you think that makes me feel? That makes me feel like a tool. So you don't want to actually get to know me? You don't want to actually have a conversation? You just want to use me? How do you think I feel? Not great. So don't do that. Instead, really follow your interests. What do you really care about? If you really follow your interests, then you'll want to be part of the community around that interest and not just, I'm here to practice and that's it. That's why you have to follow your interests. Start with your interests. Do you like movies? What kind of movies do you like? Do you like books? What kind of books do you like? Do you like video games? What kind of video games do you like? And then make decisions about what sort of groups to join. Don't just join groups randomly, and don't go in with the thing in your mind of, I'm just here to practice. Go in with, I'm now part of a community. I'm part of something. And then the next part, which is also, I think, pretty important, make a contribution. You're not just there to say things. Yes, you get to say things. Yes, you get to practice. Yes, you get to interact. but you're there to listen. You're there to add value to the discussion. You're there to think about what others are saying. And then when you have something really interesting to share, you're there to share that, right? So that's a different way of looking at it, right? You're looking at it from the perspective of, again, being part of a community, being part of a group, and really interacting with people in real conversations. And if you think about it in that way, it could be really valuable, and others will love that you're part of their community, and the rest of the group will love that you're part of the group. Okay. The next one, the last one, is follow the conversation. Follow the conversation. What does that mean? Follow the conversation really means you have to go in with the idea that it's not about any one person. It's about the whole experience for everybody. As I said, I've been doing these meetup groups online for the last 6 months, and that's one of the things that I've learned. At the beginning, I kind of went in thinking, oh, let's see how this goes. I just want to share my ideas maybe. Then what I realized doing groups is that, hey, actually, this is about us learning together, us experiencing something, sharing something that's important to all of us. And as the conversation goes along, if one person really has a lot to say because they're an expert in this area, or maybe today one person seems like they have some really good points, and I just want to listen today. Maybe I will. Maybe today I'll just listen. Or I might just contribute here and there. But I'll really follow the flow of the conversation and get into the culture. And that's, I think, really important. So my suggestion is start with, what are you interested in? Then, once you find what you're interested in, find some groups. Join a group that has probably at least 20 members or more and fits your time zone. Once you find that, then go to a meetup, attend. Maybe the first time, just sit back and listen. Or introduce yourself, say hi, and listen. And try to get the feeling for the culture of the group, because every group has its own little culture. Then, once you get a feeling for it, then you can start sharing your views, depending on how you feel that day, depending on the topic, whatever it may be. And slowly work your way into the group community so that it's a long-term thing and the group really values you as a member. That's my suggestion. And if you do it that way, you will find the value of also being able to practice your English for free without paying, right? That's great. A great advantage to you. And also a great advantage to everyone else, because everyone has something valuable to share. And if you're able to share what you think, share your insights, your perspectives, people will benefit from that as well. So check that out. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you like. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my full courses in the links in the description.